Most people carry around a vision of a life that's bigger than the one they're currently living. They have ambitions, they have dreams, and in their minds, those dreams feel not just possible, but almost real. Yet day after day, their actual habits and their routines stay the same. It's not that they're lazy or that they don't care enough. It's that the bridge between imagining something and actually living it is more complicated than people think. In this video, we're going to dive into why that gap exists. We'll talk about why dreaming feels so easy, why taking action forces you to change in ways you might not expect, and why staying consistent is so challenging, even when we genuinely believe that hard work will lead us somewhere better. Welcome to the Glitch Culture, where we slow things down, get real about the hidden reasons behind our behavior, and explore why most people's lives end up smaller than the dreams they hold inside. When people talk about dreaming big, it usually sounds like something brave, as if imagining a different life automatically means you are moving toward it. But when you really sit with it, dreaming by itself is actually the safest place to stay. Nothing is tested there. Nothing is questioned. You don't have to confront whether you can actually handle the process that the dream requires. Inside your head, everything still feels clean. The future version of you hasn't failed yet. No one has watched you struggle. No one has seen you hesitate, change your mind, or feel lost. The idea of you is still untouched by reality. And that's exactly why dreaming feels so comfortable. This doesn't mean dreaming is useless. It matters. Dreaming is often the first moment when you realize that the life you are living right now is not enough for you. That realization is important. Without it, nothing would ever change. But dreaming is only meant to be a starting point. The problem begins when dreaming becomes the place where things stop instead of the place where things begin. The mind is very good at using imagination as a form of emotional comfort. When you imagine a better future, your brain responds as if something meaningful is already happening. You feel hopeful. You feel inspired. Sometimes you even feel relieved. But none of that requires you to change how you spend your time, how you use your energy, or how you structure your days. Over time, dreaming quietly turns into a substitute for action. Instead of facing uncertainty, effort, or slow progress, you return to the idea of what your life could be. It gives you emotional movement without asking for behavioral change. And because there is no real risk involved, it becomes a place you can visit again and again. That's how dreaming slowly traps people. Not because dreams are bad, but because they allow you to want more without having to deal with what more actually demands. Possibility feels open and light. Commitment feels heavy because it removes options. When you commit, you stop being someone who could become anything and start being someone who is actually trying to become something specific. And that shift feels uncomfortable. So people keep dreaming, not because they don't want change, but because dreaming lets them want change without confronting how challenging the process will be. And without realizing it, dreaming becomes a safe place to stay instead of a direction to move in. Taking action doesn't just move you closer to a goal. It changes how your life is organized. That's the part people don't always think through. When you start acting on something that matters, you are not just adding tasks to your day. You are rearranging your time, your energy, and your attention. You might start waking up earlier. You might stop spending time in places that used to feel familiar. You might need to invest money, effort, or focus into things you don't fully understand yet. All of this slowly reshapes who you are on a daily level. This is what people mean when they say action changes your identity. It's not about losing yourself or becoming someone fake. It's about the fact that your identity is built from what you do repeatedly, not what you think about doing. When your actions change, your habits change. When your habits change, your daily life changes. And when your daily life changes, the version of you that exists in the world changes with it. This process is uncomfortable because it requires letting go of certain patterns. Maybe you can't spend as much time with the same people. Maybe the things that once helped you relax now feel like distractions. Maybe you start noticing how much effort is actually requires to turn your dreams into reality. None of this is glamorous. It's just demanding. Action forces you to deal with real problems instead of imagined ones. You stop thinking about what might go wrong and start discovering what actually does go wrong. And that means solving problems instead of fantasizing about success. That shift is where most people hesitate, not because they are weak, but because real effort is heavier than imagined effort. There is also no immediate reward for this shift. When you begin, your work may not produce visible results. You might not feel confident. You might question whether the time and energy you're putting in are worth it. This uncertainty is part of the process, but it doesn't feel good while you're inside it. So action feels threatening, not because it destroys your identity, but because it replaces a comfortable, familiar life with an unfamiliar one that requires effort and patience. And many people hesitate at this stage because staying who they are feels easier than becoming someone new through slow, daily work. Starting something is difficult, but consistency is harder for a different reason. When you stay consistent, you are committing to move forward without proof that anything will work out exactly how you expect it to be. You are choosing action before certainty, and that part is uncomfortable for most people. At the beginning, excitement often carries you. You feel motivated. You feel ready. But once that initial energy fades, you are left with repetition. The same actions and the same effort, but repetition, especially without visible results, can feel discouraging. You might be putting in time and energy without knowing whether it is actually leading anywhere. There is no clear signal telling you that you're on the right path. This is where doubt begins to show up, not because the work is impossible, but because the lack of confirmation feels unsettling. When results don't appear quickly, it becomes harder to trust the process. You start questioning your decisions. You wonder if you chose the wrong direction. You compare yourself to others who seem further ahead. These thoughts do not mean you are failing. They are a natural response to doing something where progress is slow and unclear. Consistency requires accepting that real progress is often invisible for a long time. It means showing up even when you feel unsure. It means continuing even when your effort does not yet match your expectations. Some days feel productive. Other days feel stagnant. That uneven emotional experience makes people want to stop, not because they cannot continue, but because continuing without reassurance feels mentally exhausting, especially in a world where quick feedback is the norm. There's another part of consistency that people rarely talk about. Once you show up regularly, stopping no longer feels neutral. Quitting after weeks or months of efforts feels heavier than never starting at all. You're more aware of what you are giving up, because you can see the time, energy, and intention you have already invested. You can't tell yourself that it never mattered, because it clearly did. Consistency also removes the comfort of imagining progress. There is no longer a vague future version of yourself who will do it someday. You're already doing it. Your effort is real, and so is the uncertainty that comes with it. There is no fantasy to hide behind. That is why consistency feels like the real test. Not because the work is harder, but because it leaves you with nowhere to escape mentally. Most people do not stop because they lack ability or strength. They stop because they expect clarity and reassurance from a process that does not offer it. Growth rarely feels clean or predictable. It often feels slow, confusing, and uneven. Consistency is about accepting that becoming something different requires sustained effort, not just intention, and the dedication to continue, even when life feels like it's moving nowhere.